Here's another 6-mark question. We're starting off by focusing on sine 360 minus x. Firstly, 360 minus lies in the fourth quadrant where sine is negative. That gives us negative sine x. Now we're on to tan negative x, and we know that that becomes negative tan x. In the denominator, we've got cos of 180 plus x. 180 plus lies in the third quadrant where cos is negative. So that's negative cos x. And here's something interesting. We've got a bracket with sine squared a plus cos squared a. Now you may be wondering, where does a come from? Because all along we've been working with x throughout. And now suddenly we have a. But here's the thing. This bracket is representing one of your identities. And I'm going to say it in terms of theta. Sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. As long as your angles for both sine and cos are the same, when we add them here, we should get 1. So applying that, sine squared a plus cos squared a is equal to 1. So there we have it. That's just 1. Now in the next step, what we're actually going to do here is change tan. So we'll replace tan with sine over cos, bearing in mind that there's this negative in front. So essentially this is what we get. And now focusing on the numerator part, we notice that we've got negative sine x times negative sine x. That should give us a positive sine squared x. But what happens to the denominator? So we've got cos x in the denominator as well as negative cos x. They are both in the denominator. So they actually get multiplied with each other. And that would give us negative cos squared x. I also feel like having it written in this way, sometimes it may be difficult for you to understand why the cos gets divided with each other. So I'm actually going to show you another way of getting it. Okay, so if we just go back up to the previous step, and I'm going to do this in a different color so you know that it's a different method. If you look at this part of your fraction, you've got negative sine x over negative cos x. So negative divided by a negative, I'm just going to say or, right, since it's like a method 2. That's going to give you a positive tan x. And what you notice is that you've already got a negative tan x next to that. So when we multiply these out, this ends up giving us negative tan squared x, which should actually be our final answer, right? However, we did not get to it yet with the previous method, so let's see what happens when we simplify this previous method. We've got sine squared x over negative cos squared x. So firstly, positive divided by a negative is a negative. And sine over cos is going to be tan, but it's going to be tan squared, since your sine is squared and your cos is squared. So there's your final answer, which is the same thing that we actually had here as well. So here's where your marks were allocated. First step had 4 marks, 1 for each reduction formula, 1 for the negative angle, 1 for your identity, so getting 1. The next mark was given for the step where you expanded tan as sine over cos, so essentially this part. And it was just 1 mark for your final answer. So they were not very concerned with what method you used to simplify. Okay, so you could either go with this first method or the second one. It does not really matter as long as you got to the correct answer of negative tan squared